called up to the Shrimp, hit his first AAA homer to lead off the third. The Jaguars traded for Lions wide receiver Tim Patrick in exchange for a 2026 sixth-round pick. Patrick caught 33 balls for 394 yards and 3 touchdowns last season. It's 88 degrees at 2 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
We are here on a Thursday, and that is not very common during football season. Normally we have Jaguars programming from 4 to 6, so the Fringy Show moves up after XL Primetime. But we get to boom at you live today because no Jaguars programming today. They are taking the week off, getting ready for week 1. Hopefully they're just as ready as the team is week 1 against the Panthers.
Basically, they couldn't come up with enough content today, so they're like, we're going to take today off. Let Helmets and Heels come up and get their show done. It's an exciting time regardless, man. Jags,
definitely.
College ball, going to be a great weekend of college football. And just an awesome time of year, right? I mean, all throughout the fall, throughout every holiday that's coming, football will be right there along with you the entire way. So it's awesome that it's starting.
Yeah, it is. It's that, and it's funny. We were talking about this yesterday, and I was chatting with some friends about it last night. Like the difference of, are you that nervous before the football season starts? Are you the excited type person? And I got a lot of mixed reactions of it. Like most people are like, usually I'm excited, but the last few years I just feel like I need to see it. I'm a little nervous, and I don't know really why. And I think especially here because there's been so much change, and a lot of that change has been in a positive light. When it comes to new coaching, when it comes to James Gladstone, when it comes to Tony Baselli being a part of, the EVP role now, when it comes to Travis Hunter being your pick and all of the things, there's so many positive things that has happened. The stadium is already starting to be under construction, so you're looking at that. But I do think that it's hard to not be excited, but I think that a lot of fans are kind of like, okay, well, here we go. Please don't hurt me again.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic, right? Cautiously.
But we've been that. I think that's the problem.
You deserve that. I mean, look, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I get it, too. Like, if you look at it from the college perspective, Florida State, after an incredible season, and Tom, you always say 13-0. I like to remind people it was 13-1.
Right.
Georgia whooped FSU at the end of the year. And not because I'm pro-Georgia, obviously, or necessarily anti-FSU. I don't like either of them. But it's more that was kind of the start of the demise.
Yeah.
None of
Jordan
players,
Travis gets hurt, and then it just kind of started.
They beat Florida without Jordan Travis. They beat Louisville in the ACC championship game. But then in the bowl game, none of the players wanted to play, and I understand they didn't make the college football playoff. They were upset. But it was like that game kind of set the tone, and then obviously like we talked about last year with the 2-10. So if you're Florida State, I don't even know if you can say you're cautiously optimistic. You're excited football's here, but you're also looking at it like what is this
going to be?
Yeah, what has Mike Norvell done to get my hope back to where it should be? And then Florida fans, some of them cannot stand their head coach, so they're nervous about what's going to happen on game days. And then Georgia's coming off of a season where they fell short of expectations. Still a really good season, but not where they wanted to be. Miami certainly
they don't love their play caller.
Right, they don't love their play caller.
Yeah.
They have obviously the new quarterback. Mixed reviews on his personality, I'll say.
Yeah.
And then Miami had the great start to the season and then kind of fell apart. And then when you bring it to the NFL, there's only one team that's happy right now, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, Florida State's more in that wishful thinking mode, I would think, as opposed to cautiously optimistic. Those other programs, they should feel pretty good. They got the athletes, they got the players. It might take time to get going. As far like, the Gunnar Stockton kid in Georgia might take a game or two to get rhythm, get chemistry, get flowing in the right way. But they should all be in the running. I mean, maybe not Florida State, maybe Miami. Miami ranked 10th right now, big game this weekend, but you think Florida will be creeping up there, and Georgia's going to be there.
Yeah.
I think Bama's going to, it's the same cast of characters, I think, will be there. Might a couple new ones, of course, with 16 teams, but it's Florida State's just in a position. Look, I got nothing against him, right? And I really don't have anything against Tommy Kahn. If he pulls it off, good for him. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here. I'm not one of those morons that has a grudge over some kid I don't even know. He left BC. I didn't like the way he left. It seems to be the time sometimes.
That. Yeah. If I was a BC fan, I wouldn't either.
But I don't wish him, any ill will or don't want him to win. So if Florida State can turn out to be, a program again. I've always been, even from the outside, right? Florida State, and Miami all doing well, I think is good for college football. Now, maybe I'm biased because we live in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as a whole, as the health of college football, they should be up there. Yeah, they should be up there.
It almost never happens.
At the same time,
two out of three most times.
Yeah. And we've talked so much too about the recruiting out of Florida in general. So you want that to continue, and you want the teams in Florida to keep the recruits out of Florida. And so I do think us living here adds to that, even if you're not fans of the other teams or any of them. I'm not a fan of any of the 3 Florida teams personally, but there are moments that I say I cheer for them. I really don't cheer for Florida State or Miami ever, but I think I cheer for the recruitment staying in Florida because I think that it's a cool thing to be able to say that you have the most drafted high school players or the top 3 drafted high school players, and you have all of those things are kind of cool to track when they list that at the end of the season. Here's all the recruits out of the state of Florida. Here's the schools they came from, and seeing especially Jacksonville, who we've seen a lot of players come out of Jacksonville now and be successful. That it's really fun to follow that along and see too.
Yeah. Well, and for the pure hatred of it, it's great, yes, when they're all good, especially if they're all going to play each other. And we've had that the last couple of years. And you get to see that interstate rivalry and that bad blood when Florida will play Florida State, obviously, every year. But then this year also Florida will play Miami. And then every year also Florida State, Miami.
Yeah.
So that trifecta is always fun. But yeah, to your point, Taylor, it's hard to keep the recruits in these state schools because you have high dollar programs coming in with that NIL. And you have the Ohio States and the Michigans and the Notre Dames and all those programs, Penn State, like they know that Florida's really good, especially South Florida. Nothing against our area. Yeah. Our area has great talent.
Phenomenal.
But South Florida has, as we
They're
know,
insane.
The absolute 5 stars.
Yeah.
And so if you can, keep them here, fantastic. But all these other programs want them.
Yeah.
And it used to be that recruiting was more regional.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore.
Not at all anymore.
That portal. And look, the NIL, you could look at it like that's been the equalizer, you know, that allows other programs to go after big talent and be able to afford them and give them whatever else they need to give them to make them a part of their program. You know, I just think with and I don't mean to go back, but the states like Texas, Texas should support. Texas A&M, I don't know, California, USC for sure, UCLA used to be, Stanford. You know what I mean? I don't know. California, no, they don't. Who cares if they're, doing that?
The South,
you know
the South
what I mean?
rules.
Well, and they have the population, though. Texas and California obviously have the population.
Great football players, no doubt.
Right. And Texas, I feel like the states go, I forget the exact order, but as far as the best high school players, it's always Florida. Mm-hmm. And then Louisiana, Texas, Ohio, California.
Yeah.
That's
Pennsylvania's in there.
Okay.
After Ohio, somewhere in that range. Yeah.
But what we're not saying is Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee, and those schools have to poach and get.
Well, Georgia's like, hey, we're right here,
and that's why
Jacksonville's practically
close.
Georgia, South Georgia.
No, listen, I mean, and good for the kids that are getting the money. I mean, I think the millions are a little ridiculous, but a few $100,000, you walk away with a degree, you play college ball, maybe you go pro, maybe you don't, but you graduate with a few $100,000. That's there's nothing wrong with that, or even $100,000 for that matter, with no debt. You're off to a good start, but. I think that's been, the equalizer. And you look at like Saban getting out. I'm sure it's a headache and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, well, we're not going to, we're going to kind of be not the norm. We're still going to be one of the better teams in the entire country. But people are going to catch up because they're going to be able to offer these things. And now I don't have to go to Alabama to win a championship. I don't have to go to Alabama to go to the National Football League. I can really go anywhere. And if I get set up at Mississippi State or Ole Miss or wherever, and they give me a bunch of money and I'm a starter QB, I'm a starter, and I'm going to go pro probably.
And the playoffs is expanding, so you have a better shot of getting in at least the college football playoff. I heard, and Lauren, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. XL Primetime was talking about a lot of college football earlier, too. And Matt Hayes mentioned that which there's no guardrails right now, and that's kind of like, do we get to the point where we start having more guardrails or any at all with the NIL? And he was talking about the academic side because it's just pretty much virtually not even mentioned anymore. You really don't. And I looked today quickly about some players who didn't get to play because of academic standards. And it's been a while since you've even seen that, especially when it comes to season long, which you used to all the time. And so he said he would hope that you'd start getting the NIL deals. Some of the scholar side of that is included when it comes to academics and having to keep up with a certain GPA or whatever. I think it's a great idea. Now, granted, you'd start getting people being able to fix things and kind of cheat because I feel like they do that in anything. But I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea just because I feel like we've gone so far away from, we don't even talk about student athlete anymore. It's just like you're a football player.
Yeah, no, I before NIL, it was you had to have a 2.5, I thought, to be eligible to play for that season, right? Just to keep your scholarship and to be eligible. I remember back, it wasn't grade point average. You just couldn't fail classes. So if you got a D-, which I got 3 my first semester, my dad almost killed me. Yeah, it was a rough one. I came back. I came back a little bit. It was a tough hole, though. Let me tell you, I dug a big hole. But, you still were eligible to continue on. And
you just couldn't fail anything.
You just couldn't fail to get behind in credits. You had to have 12 credits every year. You go to summer school, take them so that you could do that.
And you heard a lot more of that back in the day, where it was a lot of kids having to go to take summer classes to be able to even be able to play for the football team that next year. And I just feel like we haven't heard that in a while. I looked just specifically for Notre Dame because they used to be so strict about that. It's been 2016, I think I saw, was the last time that any player couldn't play because of the academic side of things.
Yeah, it's sad in a way of we aren't focused on their long-term development academically. Like a lot of these players, and I heard them talking about it too, a lot of these players won't play in the NFL. So what is their goal and what is their life path after playing college football? Yes, you can get NIL dollars. Hopefully you invest that, and that's great. But if you don't have a degree, and you don't have to have a degree to be successful in life, we know
definitely
that.
Not.
But if you have a free scholarship to get a degree, why not go ahead and do that? But what I can't understand, and we've talked about this when I used to work at UNF and we had to follow the academic progress reports, and if you had a certain number of players either not graduate or transfer, your academic progress rate wasn't good enough and you got in trouble with your conference and things like that. But now everyone transfers. There's no possible way. So I guess the NCAA has just given up, and nobody cares about that.
That's true, because how do you really expect a player to get a degree if they are going to 3 schools in 4 years? It's almost
unless
impossible.
Credits are transferring, and
which not all are.
Yeah.
And listen, if you stay, and a lot of them don't stay, you get access to the alumni association. That's what's really powerful. Yeah, you want your degree, of course, but it's that door to that alumni association that's been in business, doing great things out there in the world since, forever, as far as you're concerned. So, that's a real big thing. But they should have like 2.5. A 2.5 is kind of easy, right?
And I
didn't have it,
quick Google
but I didn't really try.
I think it's like even 2.0. I think that's the bare minimum, even lower. All right, Deion Sanders, since we're on college football, we'll stay on in the next segment. Deion Sanders had an interesting idea when it comes to NIL. I'll share that with you all on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Get a look behind the throw with Denny Thompson.
Yeah, I want to tell you what's really happening at the quarterback position.
Denny Thompson is the quarterback whisperer. Friday mornings on The Drill, revved up by George Moore Chevrolet and Tyson Sound and Security on 1010XL.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Football season finally upon us, and with that comes cooler weather. If you've been wanting to upgrade your outdoor living space, you should call the experts at Lifetime Enclosures now. From glass lanais to screened-in enclosures, Lifetime Enclosures and Flooring is the best in the business, so give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At Performance Painting, we've spent decades protecting commercial properties with durable, long-lasting coatings. And we can bring the same expertise when painting the exterior of your home. With industry-leading materials and a proven process, we extend the life of your home, reducing maintenance costs and preserving its value. Now, for a limited time, save $500 when you hire us to paint your home's exterior. Just mention 1010XL. Go to performancepainting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting. Come celebrate kickoff of college football with the Frangie Show. Friday from 4 to 6, we'll be at the Pour Tap Room in downtown at Laura and Forsyth. You could win Florida-Tennessee tickets. Friday, 4 to 6 at Pour Tap Room downtown.
Join Jim Furyk and other legends of the PGA Tour for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K. October 3rd through 5th at Timuquana Country Club. Catch the new community concert series on the 17th hole after play, featuring country artists Low Cash and Love and Theft. Public parking is free with complimentary tournament access for military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Get tickets now for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, starting at just $25 at Ticketmaster.
Rebound Rehabilitation. 11 great locations across the First Coast, and they're just a click away when it comes to feeling strong and healthy again. If you need the best path to recovery, look no further than Rebound Rehab. Log on and check out one of their great 11 locations.
If your house feels like a Florida swamp and your thermostat's just throwing out suggestions, then it's time to call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
They showed up fast, fixed it right, and even cleaned up after. My house is finally chilled, and so am I.
Whether your AC needs a quick fix, a full replacement, or just a little TLC, Duck Duck Air Conditioning has got you covered with fast and honest service. Call 904-862-6769 to get your cool back, or online at duckduckac.com. When your AC is stuck, call the Duck.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Football is a game of inches, and at Front Runners Tap House, every inch counts. Catch every big play on their massive 396-inch giant television. The ultimate game day experience is waiting for you at Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS right here in Jacksonville is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
My mother told me, she said, Andy.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Talking a little college football. We'll get to some Jaguars, don't you worry. But I found it really interesting. Coach Prime is filming a new commercial with Nick Saban. So the two of them got together, and then they also had a little press conference. And when asked about NIL, because Deion for a while now has been, I think, forward thinking when it comes to a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. And when he first got to Colorado, he looked around kind of like James Gladstone did with the Jaguars and was like, this is not going to work. Mm-hmm. So he sent a ton of those players packing and completely revamped the roster. And that was one of the first times, we'd seen anyone do that. But when it comes to NIL, he thinks that players should get incentives like in the NFL. So if your team makes the playoff, that's where you start to get some extra money. Obviously, if your team wins the whole thing, you get more money. I've always thought that you shouldn't prepay any of these college students. Yep. And I understand in the NFL it's different. That's fine. There's a totally different league and their employees. In college, I think they should get money after they have a great season. And I know some people would say, well, you don't know if they're going to get injured. Okay, you can maybe set a little bit of money aside for each player in that regard with the new $20+ million that the colleges have to pay for players. But reward someone for having a good season. And so I like his idea of the NFL incentive style.
Yeah, I think he's heard me talk before because that's been kind of my thing forever. When we first started talking about NIL, I always said, and we talk about those guardrails and things like that, and this is part of it to me. I don't mind having a base, like saying, but you have the pay for play. Every player gets X amount. Obviously, probably positional value will go into that a little bit. But then
snapper, you only get $2,000.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. But I mean, like quarterback, obviously, you're going to want to pay your quarterback more, your top wide receivers, those defensive ends, things like that. But I do think, and I've always said, I think that's the smartest thing to do is from there saying like, hey, if you're a wide receiver, if you hit X amount of yards, and each program may have different numbers too, depending on expectations for that season. So they could change year to year, whatever the case may be. But if you hit X amount of touchdowns, X amount of yards, X amount, whatever the case may be. If you make the college football playoff, it goes up. Things like that, I think, number one, it would get these players to play in bowl games and things like that once it comes time for the bowl game season, which we've seen a lot of players not play in. If that is part of, they get more money in that. But I do think that, and the injury thing is unfortunate, but I do think that if you're getting a base number, then also why would a school want to pay you for playing if you're not playing for that whole season anyway? So I think it adds some fairness between the school and the players. And the players, if you want to talk the talk and say that you're you're a 4-star, 5-star, and you feel like you're the best wide receiver in the nation, show it, and you can make more money.
Yeah, actually, when it came out, I thought that's how it would be. You know, like there would be a clump of money, and you divide it amongst the players on the team. And, yeah, the quarterback would get more than the offensive line. The starters would get more than the backups. But everybody would get something, right? And guys in the locker room would understand that. You know what I mean? They'd be happy. I mean, backup offensive linemen, you kidding me? They'd be happy to get just a free meal every day for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Free beers at night one day of the week or something like that. But I thought that's how it, and it should be that way. I'm not against any of these guys going to get as much money as you can. Listen, you get one shot to do it. Go do what you can do. They're allowing you to do it. I don't know how you're ever going to reel it back in, but maybe you can with that kind of thing. Like, look, we're going to take, you could even like, you could take like these big conferences that get the TV money, right? They all get the same amount of TV money. I think the Big Ten last year was like $22 million, maybe something like that. They each got $20 or $22 million.
Might even be higher because I think the SEC was like 40-something million.
Is that high? Well, okay, so even more my point. Like take a percentage out of that, put it into a pot, and then give it to the players, and then have incentives to go on top of that, especially if you make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's no different. I'll never forget when we are Morton Anderson missed. We go into Buffalo, we win the game, and I'll never forget Logman saying after the game, we're getting our uniforms off. He's like, "That's free money, T-Mac. That's free money, man. You can do whatever you want with that money." And it was like $13,000 for winning the wild card.
Yeah.
I was like, "No kidding." Like I had no idea. He's like, "Yeah."
You're like, "Wow, this is great."
If we win again, we get another like $30,000. I'm like, get out of here. Are you kidding me? And then, we ended up making, I think we went all the way to the AFC Championship game. I think we made an extra $70,000, something like that. So
nowadays it'd be $700.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, but
exactly.
I have the numbers real quick,
Like
Taylor. The Big Ten last year, each school $60.5 million, $60.5 million. Yeah, the SEC $51 million per school, and then ACC 43.3. Or they each school received between 43.3 and 46.9. The ACC has the grandfathered in rule for some of their schools, so they're different. And then Notre Dame earned $22.1 million.
Yeah. I know their upcoming deal, I think, is like 50, but
to catch them up with the likes of the Big Ten and the SEC. So talk about almost 3 times as much really nowadays. It's a boatload of money, which is why we're seeing certain conferences go to 9 games because those TV networks are going to pay them even more money.
Right, makes sense.
We don't have a we don't have a college football commissioner. We have conference commissioners, but we don't have one person that oversees everything. And so this is the answer to why we don't have this yet, as far as certain clauses being in these contracts. If I'm Alabama and you're Ohio State, or Tom will be Ohio State, you'll be Notre Dame. I
don't want to be Ohio State. I don't like Ohio State.
Okay, you're Boston College. Taylor's Notre Dame. I'm Florida. We'll just pick our schools, our alma maters. So if I have a guy, let's call him Bryson Wright, the kid at Mandarin who we know has gone viral twice for his insane catches.
Right.
If I'm Bryson Wright and I'm looking at these 3 schools, and they're all willing to pay him $2 million, let's say, to come to their schools, he's going to sign with the school that has the least clauses in the contract. He doesn't want to sign with a school that's going to say, well, you're going to get more money if you make this many catches and if you have this many yards, or you have to get these grades, right? The more rules and parameters you put around it, his attorney or his agent is going to look at that and say, well, I'm going to go to one of the schools that has the least amount and then the same amount of money.
Yeah, and that's the problem. The problem is not having that person that's ahead, like somebody who all of these commissioners can go to, and there's a leader of all of them that say, let's get something together and all on the same page.
Yeah, it used to be the president of the NCAA, but that person doesn't matter.
It has pretty much no say. Yeah, and so I do think that is the problem, and individually the conference commissioners care more about their conference and care more about their conference making money than the actual football. Because in my head, too, if you think about this, when you're talking about the player the incentive based, a team that's not very good, you start seeing players give up. Like they're not really, like I said, not playing in bowl games, or maybe some injury. They're banged up a little bit, so they're not playing because they're kind of looking towards the draft already, or whatever the case may be.
It's not the college football
If
playoff,
you
why
can
would I
make
play?
more money yourself individually because you hit a certain amount of yards by the end of the season, you're going to get better football product, because all of these players are going to have their own individual reasons to keep playing and keep hitting certain incentive numbers. But if you don't have that, then you get the ones that are kind of like, well, I'm going to be drafted anyway, so I don't really care about my numbers here. Or we're losing anyways.
Whatever. Yeah. No, you're right. Paid for production.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a bad thing. I don't know. Listen, I think eventually they've got to just figure out how they can just get it under control if they can. I mean, you're talking about some of these, guys that they're making so much money, they don't know what to do with it. And I think there could be some collateral damage down the road. Like if it gets too big, why go play in the NFL if you made enough money in college? Now, granted, it's a lot more in the NFL. I get that, but I'm not just talking quarterbacks, but even just anybody. You know what? I made enough. I'm good. I don't have to go do all that to make more money. Maybe I've had enough money. If it gets that big.
Yeah. To this point, we haven't seen the schools having to pay these players, right?
Yeah.
We've had boosters. So why would Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, why does he care if a player gets $4 million?
Yeah.
Or $8 million like Nico Iamaleava? Why does he care? It's not coming out of his any of his school's budgets,
right?
So that he doesn't have the university presidents complaining to him. The boosters are the ones out there that have been paying. Now it's going to be more of that pay for playing coming out of each individual school's $20 million or so budget and their reserves. So now I think you're going to have the university presidents paying a little bit more of attention, and then that will filter back to the conference commissioners. But to this point, as long as their conference makes the most money, to Taylor's point, why would they care if a player's getting money? Why would they care if a player's going to school?
But the coaches probably care. You know what I mean? You're getting this kid, and because you could pay him a little bit more money than we can pay him.
Sure, but that's between the coach and the boosters. So the coach has to have a good relationship with the boosters. Yeah. The coach doesn't really care about.
Have you guys? And I haven't. Have you ever talked to anybody that's like given significant money to either? The collective or at any school? Like, I'd like to know, so what are the expectations? Do you know exactly where the money goes? Do you know who it goes to?
Yes.
What happens, if they don't work out? What happens if they get hurt? What happens if they leave after the year?
I don't think that, the boosters that contribute, because yes, I know people that contribute to NIL. Those boosters, until you get to being one of the ones who's giving millions upon millions, you don't get any say in what's happening. Now, those boosters that are giving the 20 million plus, absolutely, they have some say, not direct say in what a coach does, but they absolutely are talking to someone in that athletic department and voicing their opinion.
Yeah, and that's someone on the text line 8043 said NIL does not come from the school, which we know that.
Right.
So my whole thing in this is that pay for play does. So the pay for play, your base salary, I guess, is what it would end up turning to, can be controlled by, we're talking about position and what you play and blah, blah, blah. The NIL, though, what we want are contracts. And these contracts are going to be formed between school player and whoever is providing that NIL money, the boosters, things like that. And they can still set different expectations of, okay, here's your contract. We will give you this money. But talking to the athletic department, talking to the player, here's our expectations of what we need to see. And you can make more money throughout each thing. They can still set those, what people say as guardrails or contracts. We just don't have anything close to that right now.
Because again, each conference wants to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have a mandate coming from anyone above you. So why would you go through extra work on yourself and potentially lose out on some of these players?
Well, you're losing money potentially too, though, if you're giving $8 million to a kid who plays one game and his college career gets hurt and then nothing ever happens with it.
And so
or a Rashada situation.
Right. In the end, what I predict happens many, many, many years down the road, and I hate to say it, but I don't think college football, well, it's not as we know, have known it for a long time anyway already, but I think there will be an NFL kind of like minor league.
Yeah.
And so these players won't go to college and play college football and go to school whatsoever and be on a college campus. They will literally be drafted, so to speak, by an NFL team. They'll be in the NFL minor league. They'll make money right then. They'll have contracts and forget about, like I said, the college football landscape as we know it. Which makes me so sad as I say it out loud, but that's what I think happens.
It would go that. I mean, because think about it, you'd lose all the rivalries. You'd lose all that. I mean, maybe a select group of players are going to
you'd get another group of players that would still play college football, but the ones
like UFL.
Yeah, but the ones that
are
can
going
tell,
into the NFL.
like a Trevor Lawrence might have skipped Clemson completely because they can already identify he's going to be successful in the NFL, for instance. Just using him as an example. Micah Parsons, think of Miles
There's
Garrett.
a lot of players that you would know immediately, and it'd be kind of like your league where it's like the D1, 2, whatever, but that top league is more so the feeder league to the NFL.
Or they might play 1 year in college football like a Jeremiah Smith or a Ryan Williams, and then the NFL minor league says,
We
"Thank
want
you very
you
much."
now.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so then it's more like college basketball where they could be one and done.
Yeah.
But yeah, if y'all want to weigh in, hit up the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures 641-1010. Certainly give us your thoughts. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coatings is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coatings. Better play, better results.
I'm Brendan from Checkmate Coatings. Our precision coatings make your floors the MVP of any space.
Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Football season is here, so I've got to get organized. Lauren Brooks here. Closets by Design creates custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms or entertainment centers, wherever that clutter has taken over. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off with free installation. Yes, that's 40% off plus an additional 15% off this month only. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. As temperatures warm up around us, ants come out in droves. And when they move into your home or business, it's unnerving. Terminix knows that ants add up fast, but Terminix subtracts them faster because living with ants isn't any fun. When ants show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with an ant problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Hey, Hicken here for my friends at Cleaning Freaks at Zero Res. Great time of the year to get your house Zero Resified. And right now, you can get your entire home clean from Jacksonville's ultimate carpet cleaner. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $135. Plus, they're throwing in a free hallway and take $100 off the air duct cleaning. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com or call 287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res. 1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Fold out, lay back, toes in the sand.
Last time Beasley was here, he mentioned he's been listening to Nico Moon. That's who this is.
So he did say he was.
We're expanding his horizons, so to speak, which I love. Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. RJ, you're hosting that college football show tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Will any of this conversation make its way into your show as far as transfer portal, NIL, and all that fun stuff?
I'm sure we'll talk about it later on in the season. Just really want to cover all of the big games, especially here in Florida with the Gators, the Noles, and the Hurricanes all having, big games going into this weekend, the first games of their regular season. So I'm sure we'll get to NIL at some point during the regular season.
Tom just made a face when you said all three have big games this weekend.
Well, all three do, okay? I understand the Long Island University game. There may be some that say, you know what, hey, let's turn on another game because this one is a rout.
For Long Island, it is a big game.
Yeah,
For Long Island, it is.
Yeah, it is the first game of the season. You get that for sure. Yeah, definitely much bigger games as Miami takes on Notre Dame, plays host to Notre Dame, I should say, and then Florida State plays host to Alabama. By the way, I was pondering this question as I was thinking about all the college football coming up this weekend. You mentioned Thomas Castellanos, and we know that he has said a lot of things about Alabama and how they don't have Nick Saban anymore, and they're going to basically catch them off guard, so to speak. What if Florida State wins that game? I hadn't even thought of that angle because I just have been thinking so much more about. Well, I've been thinking so much more about just how much better of a roster I think Alabama has than Florida State, and probably a better coach in Kalen DeBoer, and certainly his assistant coaches over Mike Norvell. Although Gus Malzahn being out of the staff certainly helps a lot. But Florida State can win this game. The weather doesn't look ideal for Tallahassee, so I feel like if you are Florida State, you want to
run the ball.
Make it a bit muckier and absolutely run the ball. But what if Florida State wins that game? How different is the conversation surrounding the Noles this season?
Very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, week one, that's how quickly they could flip that. I saw the Barstool SEC posted earlier, and they said the SEC fan base that will melt down the hardest this weekend will be. And my first thought was if Alabama loses, it's going to be Alabama. They are going to be fire Kalen DeBoer right now. You cannot lose to a team that just won 2 games last season, even if Florida State, and this is very hypothetical, obviously, because I don't know if anybody knows what Florida State is going to be. Even Rick Ballou last night, I heard him, and they were, Frank and Hayes asked him how he felt, and he was like, I have no idea. Number one, it's been very closed off. Nobody's been able to see much of what's going on at Florida State. So we talk about here having unpredictabilities of what to expect. They really don't know from the outside. And so, I mean, could you imagine if week one Alabama goes down to Florida State? And on Alabama's side of things is what I'm thinking. How big is that meltdown in Tuscaloosa?
Alabama lost to Vanderbilt last year, Tom. They thought that was one of their low points. Yeah. And mobile quarterbacks have hurt Bama year in and year out. And so we know Thomas Castellanos wants to run the football.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. Listen, that's week one. Anything can happen. You've been in camp, and you hope you're not rusty. You hope you don't make mistakes. You hope your quarterbacks don't screw it up. I think Florida State's going to lean on their defense. Their defense should be pretty decent this year. And Bama's got a couple injuries up front, and one of their offensive linemen doesn't look like he's going to be playing at fifth-year starter. So that could be interesting, but it would be huge for Florida State, and that's what college football is all about right there. You know what I mean? Appalachian State upsetting whoever
Michigan.
it was, Michigan, that kind of stuff. I'm not comparing. I'm not saying that Florida State is Appalachian State. I'm just saying those kind of games. Look, if I'm Mike Norvell, no one gives us a chance. That's my message. Big Bama's coming in. Everyone's talking about them, and they're hungry, and they're going to go to the title, and they're going to be in the running, and they're going to do all this stuff. Nobody's talking about us. What a great opportunity for us to smash them in the face and see what they're really made of. And then let's see if we can hang with them. And then who knows how it happens at the end. But you know what? It's a great test for Florida State. And you can wipe away that 2-win season last year with a win against Bama. And it would be great. It'd be great for football. It would be great for Bama fans. My wife's from Mobile. Her side of the family, they're cuckoo. They're cuckoo for Bama. No, they are. My brother-in-law, John, he's nuts. He loves them so much. He can't sit down during a game. He's pacing back and forth. He's 5'9" guy, never played ball in his life. He's just going nuts for the team. And you're like, all right, whatever. That's the way it is. But they'll go crazy. But look, again, the good thing about these big games, I think we can all agree, they're non-conference. So it's going to sting. It's going to hurt. But it won't kill you for the entire year, right?
Especially now with the
expansion. It'll hurt Bama a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it won't. But at least it's not, they still have a chance to win their conference. They still have a chance to do what they got to do. But it would be a big sting to Bama and a great big thing for Florida State, which would be cool.
Well, and what's wild is at the end of the year, these teams' trajectories could have been so incredibly different.
Yeah.
Like we assume Alabama's good because Alabama has been good.
Because it's Alabama.
Since, right. Nick Saban took over. Yes, there was a stretch that Alabama was terrible at football.
They were.
Prior to Nick. But, obviously not during the Bear Bryant years.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got Florida State where 2 years ago, like we talked about even the year before that, Jordan Travis and what they were able to do. And people thought Jordan Travis should be a wide receiver. They didn't even think he should be a quarterback. Yeah. But yet he did a fantastic job, obviously, leading them. And so obviously college football is very cyclical. But what if at the end of the year, Alabama has lost 5 games and Florida State, the ACC, obviously much easier than the SEC. Yeah. And I'm not throwing shade. That's just the reality of the situation. Yeah. If FSU is a 9-win team, right? Like it could be so different, but you're going to only extrapolate everything
by that one game.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. If at the end Florida State actually ends up being a pretty good game, then you're looking back at that Alabama loss not as bad. You're saying, okay, Florida State's just better than what you thought. But the meltdown week 1 will happen if they lose.
Florida State's got nothing to lose, right?
Yeah,
they got
right.
Just like
just go hair on fire. Forget about it.
One of my favorite cliche phrases in all of football is the kitchen sink. You use it more in college football than in the NFL, but Mike Norvell can throw the kitchen sink at Alabama and Kalen DeBoer. Like he has nothing to hide or nothing to lose, but also he's hidden everything. So any trick plays that he may have, people are not like, let's go back to the punt Ruski in the Bowden era.
Sounds like 1950 talk there, Lauren. The kitchen sink.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that in a long ass time. Yeah, but that's good. Yeah. No, but you're right. You can let it all hang out, let it rip. Do some trick plays, whatever you got to do to get the momentum. And that's one thing about football. I don't care what level we're talking about. Momentum is key, man. It's wild how momentum can swing on you as a player when you're on the road and things just aren't going your way, and to get that crowd to shut up is so hard. Like it just keeps steamrolling and steamrolling, and you're trying to get out of it. And then somebody makes a big play, little by little, they quiet. Somebody makes another big play, you score a touchdown, then they settle it down. But momentum's huge. That's what makes it great. I mean, that's what makes that sport great, because it can, on any possession, that momentum can swing, and especially in college football, and especially in week 1.
Right.
You don't know what to expect.
Florida State last year goes in to that season thinking, yes, there were questions about DJ Uyunglele, but for the most part, we thought, all right, they can run the ball. Certainly, they'd had really good.
The trenches you thought were still going to be good.
Absolutely, good trenches. And then they lose to Georgia Tech, and I feel like right then and there, and it was a close game, but last second field goal, and that momentum drastically hurt them.
Yeah.
Because it was negative momentum, just like the Jags losing with that fumble and everything by ETN to the Dolphins.
Look, last year we went to the BC Florida State game. Now, granted, the half of the stadium was under construction, but their team did not look like Florida State.
Right.
They just didn't. They didn't look like you thought you'd be like just in wow, like, holy cow, but you didn't. And the quarterback, I'm sorry, but he was just terrible. He missed so many wide open guys, and they were open, and it would have been, a couple would have been touchdowns. It just didn't feel. It was a great win for BC, great win for Bill O'Brien. We were all very excited about it, but it never felt like it was a real Florida State type team.
Well, and like you said, the stadium half full because of the construction.
Yeah.
Now Doak Campbell completely redone. I think they took out around 12,000 seats, so that part will feel a little different as far as the volume of people there. But either way, the stadium's going to be rocking, especially if they can. And I hate to even say hang around, because if I'm Florida State, I'm expecting more than that.
Yeah.
I got in trouble one day, Taylor. I was like, I feel like if you're Florida State and you're competitive against Alabama week 1, like you feel pretty good. And the Florida State fans are like,
got mad at you.
All we expect. And I'm like, well, but I'm basing this off of last year. And I know it's a different team.
Yeah, and I think they also, the argument will be like, okay, well, 2 years ago, look at what happened.
Yeah.
So last year, if you're a Florida State fan, I'm sure there's both sides, because I've talked to people that are both sides. Some are saying last year was just weird and fluky and DJ sucked. If they had any other quarterback, it would have looked better. And then some say, no, the year before was kind of that off year with Mike Norvell. He got lucky, hit on a lot of portal players, and everything kind of just went right. So which side do you see this year? Nobody knows.
Well, and why does he have so many transfers starting in now, he's going into year, 6 or 7? Like, why are there not more?
Still that, your recruits, why aren't they starting on your,
Yeah, he's
a bit of a problem.
Well, look, again, he's under the gun like everybody else. Norvell if he could turn it around quick, he's got a big risk on Castellanos or whatever the name probably whoever want to pronounce his name, Thomas. He's rolling the dice with them. I mean, it's a big risky move for him to say going from 2 to 10 to rely on turning it around from him, and he's not bad. I've never said he was bad. I just don't think he's great throwing the football. He's great running the football. Yeah. But we'll see maybe they cleaned him up. It's Malzahn, right?
Yeah,
Gus.
Yeah, it's Gus.
Maybe he cleaned him up and got him to where he could play in his system and make the right reads and the right throws and not turn the ball over. And, if that comes through, then with risk, there's reward. And for, Florida State fans and their program, hopefully there's good rewards this year.
It's about 48 hours from now. A little over 48 hours from now, we will have the kick between Alabama and FSU in Tallahassee.
We got to Ashton Gentilis, Boise State tonight, right?
That is correct.
That's right, yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You got that right. All right, we've got more to do on the other side, including Tom's takeaways. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 10 to Nix on 2.5 FM.
Number 9 opens up his teal and black bag of memories.
Let's go, Googans. Let's go, Googans.
David Garrard joins Mike and Fat Tony on Jaguars Today. Mondays on 1010XL. Restored by Resto Pros of Northeast Florida.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of certified vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $89.99. Plus, they come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile peace of mind warranty and free oil changes. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine, Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, or Beaver Mitsubishi in St. Augustine. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 28, 1977, Nolan Ryan strikes out 300 batters for his 5th consecutive year.
Football is a game of inches, and at Front Runners Tap House, every inch counts. Catch every big play on their massive 396-inch giant television. The ultimate game day experience is waiting for you at Front Runners Tap House inside the Community First Igloo.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Lights, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. And don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
Jaguars football is officially back. Be there as number 2 overall draft pick Travis Hunter, quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and new head coach Liam Cohen take the field for the first time during the 2025 NFL regular season. Secure your seats for when the Jaguars take on the Panthers September 7th by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
Are you trapped at a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop right now. At Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in at a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. So start now by calling 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
Hey, it's Vegas time. This is former Jags linebacker Tom McManus from Helmets and Heels, and we want you to come and join us once again in Las Vegas for the Raiders game weekend. If you've not been to the Circus Stadium Swim, you're missing out on 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive 143-foot screen with all the current sports betting action. Plus, all you Jaguar fans are invited to huddle up with Helmets and Heels at the Overhang Bar with our pregame tailgates on Friday with drink specials and special giveaways.
Lauren Brooks here. Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, and myself will be broadcasting Helmets and Heels live on air from a Stadium Swim Cabana on Friday, October 31st. Then hosting the wildly popular Jacksonville Huddle Up Friday evening at the Overhang Bar inside Circa. If you were there last year, you know you won't want to miss it. If you've already booked your flight to Vegas for the big game and are still searching for accommodations, stay where we're staying at Circa Resort and Casino from October 30th to November 3rd.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Speaking of someone who doesn't flinch, our air drummer over here,
right.
Tom McManus, has some takeaways for you right here, right now.
Now,
okay, it's go time.
Tommy's Takeaways. Jacked up by J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We are here for you. Veteran owned and operated.
You know what my takeaway is today?
I do not.
I'm jacked.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm jacked, baby. That's all I'm going to say. I am jacked as you can all get out me, right? I'm jacked about this team. I'm jacked about the moves. I'm jacked about Trevor's, growth and progress. I'm just flat out jacked. And that's brought to you by our friends at J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. So get jacked by them, too.
Yeah. So you are jacked, but I don't know that we would consider James Gladstone jacked.
He says
Obviously,
he's jacked.
He says, yes.
No,
personality, he's jacked. Yeah.
He's being real, man. I love it. I think it's great. It's just the way he talks, and it's all good, man. Hey, as long as you win, you can say whatever you want. You can
we won't care.
It's just funny because normally I feel like because he's someone with a lot of words and he's very articulate, he has never really used the same word that many times outside of, those phrases that he's kind of coining. Like
intangibly rich.
Exactly. And so to hear him say twice, like cool question, and then a few different times, and again, this is James Gladstone, the Jags GM, who met with media yesterday, and we'll play a couple of those cuts in a little bit. But to hear him use the same word multiple times, I was like, I feel like your vocabulary has shrunk now that you've been around Baselli.
He had to tone it down.
That's how Neanderthals speak. We're jacked. You're looking jacked.
Joe Cowart said it best earlier where he's like, he kind of feels like the guy who every day is like, here's the 3 words I'm going to use in my daily conversation. I have to say them at least 2 times. And there's people who do that. I have other friends. Usually there are more difficult words that they say, here's a word that I've learned I've just recently learned, or whatever the case may be. I'm going to use this, fit this in my vocabulary today X amount of times. And Joe was like, that's what I think James Gladstone does. And I was like, it's kind of fitting because he does go on these little, like each presser, I feel like he has a word that, like you said, he has his phrases that he sticks to, but he has like a word that is just kind of used throughout each one, but it's always different from presser to presser.
You get excited, I thought that's actually a great word. Listen, you know what jacked is right away. Mm-hmm. You know what like go time is, right? Mm-hmm. So, he's that's funny hanging out with Baselli.
I'm just kidding, Tony. I know you're educated.
I actually liked it because he is he seems pretty astute, when he's speaking, and then it's nice for him to come down a little bit and be like, yeah, man, I'm just jacked up about everything. I thought it was pretty cool, and now you just got to back it up. That's all, whatever.
Well, he doesn't, but
the team does, and it's his team, so they obviously got to get it going. Hopefully
right, and
they
talk about a lot of expectations to be placed on a first-year head coach in Liam Cohen. I expect you to completely revamp the offense, including the run game, and not fix Trevor, but bring Trevor back to when he was successful a couple years ago. I expect you to also manage everything when it comes to an entire team. And, oh, by the way, here's Travis Hunter. He's going to play both sides of the ball, and you have to figure all that out, too.
Okay. First year, everybody, right?
And play call.
First year, everything. No, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
How much leeway are you giving them?
As fans or as media?
Us. Us. Us fans.
Who are we giving the team as a whole?
Yeah, to me, this is not a win-loss answer. To me, this is what does it look like each week. And,
if it's last a 4-13, it's going to look like it did last year.
Well, last year was, I would say, one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. And the offense had a lot of issues. It wasn't the worst offense I've ever seen, but it was definitely one of the worst defenses. If they're this year also losing one-score games, I think it depends just how it all looks. But that's the answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that because last year for Florida football, that was my answer. This isn't a win-loss thing as to whether Billy Napier keeps his job. It's a what does it look like? Did he improve in those certain areas? And then when the defense drastically improved, you saw a much better season.
Yeah, I do think that if you are only winning 3 or 4 games, it would be hard to not be disappointed. Yeah. And I do think that you could go back and you can nitpick, which you can go back and nitpick things last year, and people still will. Of, Trevor was hurt, and all the receivers kept getting hurt, and the offensive line wasn't good, and all of those things. And so you could still do that even in a season last year where the defense was really bad, and they had people playing in the wrong positions and all of the things that were happening. But there's not, if you're winning 3 or 4 games and your quarterback, your starting quarterback is playing at least the majority of the season, then it's really hard to continuously make excuses for that. I don't know if I would say if they win 7-8 games, I think that there's still good things that you could take out of that depending what that looks like. But I don't know if at the end of the season, if they win 3 or 4, that I'd be like, oh, good job.
Well, here's the thing. Look, one-score games is the NFL. So a lot of teams could probably say, yeah, we lost by 1 score. But that you still lost. So it doesn't really matter. There's no solace in the 1 score.
Technically, 1 score is 8 points.
Yeah.
So
you know what I mean? So
like, still a lot of points.
Field goal.
Yeah.
I think we can, that's a nice crutch to be like, we lost by 3, or we lost by 4, we lost by 5. Well, you still lost.
Yeah.
You're not winning those games. And the way they lost, we've been through that ad nauseum.
Oh, yeah.
So that should change this year. And I expect them to win way more than 4 games. And if they don't, something's not right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to give them a little bit of lead. You have to.
Well, he's going to be the head coach no matter what.
But I agree with you. How they win or lose. Mm-hmm. If how they lose will matter a lot, and how much leeway you give them.
Yeah, so, I think when we talk about the boxes you want to see checked and the improvements that we want to see defensively, it's pretty much everything. There's a lot of things defensively that you want to see better compared to last year. But offensively, it's going to be the red zone. It's going to be that turnover ratio. That's going to be the short yardage downs. It's going to be, yes, those are the things. Like if by the end of the year you feel like you're like, okay, they were still, that third down, they got better at the short down yardage, the red zone, all of those things improved, but maybe they didn't always turn into wins because of other variables. I think that you could justify that they're heading in the right direction. But I do think also even if you win, let's say you do win 8-9 games, there's also still a possibility that at the end you're looking back and you're like, man, they got lucky in 4 of those games. They should have only, and we've done that before too. And I do think that you never know that product until the end. And so that's what's going to be so fascinating. I don't know if even mid-season we'll be able to say this team is good or bad or we're happy or sad until the end product. And you kind of see that end result.
Go on a run. It happens. We've seen it here in Jacksonville.
Well, and do they improve throughout the season? I think that's another question.
How you finish.
It's absolutely
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep the conversation going. And we have a pair of tickets to give away to go see the Florida Gators on Saturday night. So keep it right
big
here.
Game.
That's right. Big game right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
We got a great show for you today.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
A big show.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
A king-size show.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Friday Night Lights are shining even brighter as 1010XL has partnered with Channel 4 to bring you Friday Night Lights, a live streaming show at 7 o'clock every Friday, presented by Farrah and Farrah on the social media channels of 1010XL and Channel 4.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass. He told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
This is the final week of Beards Diamond's incredible free finance offer. Hicken here. This week only, make any purchase, spread those payments over 5 years without a dime in interest payments. Not just on engagement rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstone jewelry. Buy now, pay nothing down, spread your payments over 5 years. Such a smart way to buy, and nobody else can do it. 5 years, 0 interest. You can even finance the sales tax. All GIA certified diamonds are included in this. I'm talking rounds, princess cuts, ovals, pear-shaped, cushion cuts, emerald cuts. You get the idea. Whether you get a $5,000 diamond or a $50,000 diamond, spread those payments over 5 whole years. Get the Beards Diamond's unbeatable price. Pay 0 down, spread your payments over 5 years. Lots of folks are doing this, but time is running out. The offer ends on Sunday and will not be extended. Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center. Shop local, shop Beards.
Prosser here again for Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts you can trust. You might think you have a struggle ahead, but Chad and Sandy always have a solution, and ultimately it ends in a success story. Jacksonville area homes are selling, but getting the right price requires aggressive marketing and proven systems. Hiring the experts who know how to create demand is crucial. You need Chad and Sandy Newman. Need to sell now? Chad and Sandy have instant offers. Fast, easy, stress-free. But, man, they deliver with the promises. The local real estate experts you can trust. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. Oh, and the proof is out there. Tom and Nicole in Mandarin. I got a new job in Louisiana. We found a new home. Now we'd have to sell fast to avoid paying 2 mortgages. Chad and Sandy did it. Use them today. ChadAndSandy.com. That's ChadAndSandy.com.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. This update brought to you by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. For the second straight year, season tickets for Florida football at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium are officially sold out as all 2025 season tickets and stadium passes have been claimed. Single game tickets are still available for all 6 home games in the 2025 season, but they are going fast. You can purchase tickets at FloridaGators.com. We will also have the Florida Gators as they have their matchup against Long Island University on our airwaves on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Right now, 87 degrees at 3:02, time and 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farrah doesn't flinch.
Well, I've been wearing orange and blue all week because obviously I'm excited about this massive game going on in Gainesville Saturday night. It's a giant one as Florida plays host to Long Island. If you want to go, that's right, to Gainesville Saturday night, be caller number 3 at 641-1010. Caller number 3, 641-1010. You will get the tickets. Just make sure that you have plans to head to Gainesville. And certainly, it's so much fun being in the swamp. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a great time.
It's an absolute blast. We have a friend who's never been, and he's a Gator fan. And I'm like, we've got to take you. Like,
I've never been to the swamp either.
Oh my gosh,
I've been outside, like tailgating,
Right.
but I never went in for the actual game. Same for Florida, Georgia.
For big games like Long Island, there's nothing. That was a joke, obviously. There's no better. It went right over y'all's heads. No, but for big games, like I was there. I told you about 2006 when Florida blocked the kick against South Carolina.
Right.
That field goal, but the lead into the actual game. So they show a video on the video boards, and it starts with that slow dun, dun, right, and then eventually it goes into "Welcome to the Swamp, where only Gators get out alive," and that place is in a frenzy.
Oh yeah,
and I'm not saying the Swamp is alone. Like I've been to games at Doak Campbell in Tallahassee, and when Osceola plants that spear, I mean the place loses its ever-loving mind, especially when it is full capacity, like it will be certainly this weekend, Saturday afternoon. So yeah, I hope whoever wins the tickets, you are headed to Gainesville, and it'll be a treat.
Yeah, I spent like a half hour, honestly, over the weekend watching college football intros.
Okay.
And just because I was talking to someone about different ones, I can't remember which one like brought up the whole conversation.
Sure.
So then I was like, and it's not a college football fan, they're more of an NFL fan. So I was like, well, let me just show you some of these intros for college football because it's insane. So it was a 30-minute video of like college football intros. And by the end, he was like, holy crap. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Like,
It's
you get goosebumps just thinking about being in those stadiums. Like I've never been to Happy Valley for Penn State.
Oh yeah,
but
played there a few times.
Yeah, the whiteouts that happen there.
It's loud as heck there.
Yeah.
The horseshoe's loud, and that was in '89, but that was
I'm sure.
Ohio
The
State,
Virginia
that was
Tech
wicked
one was
loud.
the first one that popped
That
up.
one,
That
I
one's
wanna
insane.
go to.
Yeah.
Like that one, I'm
With
like, oh, I want to
wanna come
go
out
just
the
to like
tunnel
do it. Yeah.
to Metallica.
I
That's
know.
incredible.
So cool.
And Clemson, they run down the hill and they rub the rock. That's another good one. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's-
Dabo's always
Running
sprinting
down the hill. I don't know about
You don't
running.
like it?
Yeah, you could fall. You know, you gotta really be
It's
careful.
not that big of a hill, Tom.
I know, but still, you know, you get all that momentum going down.
Yeah.
It's-
And then
I'm surprised we haven't seen like a roll.
somebody
Humble.
back. That would have been called Clemsoning before Clemson ever won the national championship.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's so many good ones when you think about it. Texas A&M. I always want to say the Rebel Yell because that's the song, but it's the Midnight Yell. I guess they do it at midnight, and then also the
They're
entire.
the ones that make out with the girls, right? Texas A&M.
Do they?
Right?
I just
After
know
a
that
touchdown, or they show them kissing in the
I thought they did the
stands.
push-ups and things like that.
That sounds like a very Johnny Manziel thing to do.
True. Similar to Notre Dame. I know the Leprechaun does
Yeah, they do the push-ups
at Notre Dame. I'm trying to remember what the intro is for the Irish, but when I was there, it was just so bitterly cold that I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like that Irish dance song.
That's- okay.
And so they'll do that, and everyone kind of just like hops type thing. Honestly, like that's the one kind of bummer. The campus is beautiful and the games are fun and stuff, but it doesn't have like the home field advantage that other places have. Marcus Freeman's definitely trying to shift that. You could tell the last couple years it is a little bit more of an environment, but it's always been a storyline around it of like you need that extra home field advantage vibe there, and it just didn't really exist for a long time. Hopefully that changes coming up, especially coming off of a national
listen, BC's like
appearance.
42,000.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's like half of the Swamp.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Syracuse is smaller too, but because they
They're
play in the
dome.
Carrier
I
Dome,
hated
you
that place. Because the dome, it's not very high. Like the Superdome is massive. The Carrier Dome, it's like, oh my gosh, like it's gonna fall.
Like you're
on
playing
me.
in Tropicana.
Yeah, you can't really breathe. You know, it's weird. It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, Wisconsin
I like
has the
playing
jump
there.
around.
That one's fun.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then obviously West Virginia, the Take Me Home.
Yeah, Country Roads by John Denver. Yeah,
Okay.
there's so many good
That's
traditions.
riveting. Jeez, I'd be so pumped to go play there.
I actually
John
like that
Denver.
song, but I guess it
Before a
is not the
football
most
game?
like. Yeah,
How about by a bonfire, eating s'mores, maybe, drinking wine, singing?
that's what it is out there. That's the vibe they want to bring in.
Yeah.
You're just out on the country road vibing.
That's right.
That's right.
Pat McAfee. That's who I think of when I think of West Virginia these days. Yeah, there's so many, and that's what I try to tell people that aren't, like you said, aren't really into college football as much. They're much more into the NFL. It's like, just go to Norman, Oklahoma, or go to Lubbock, Texas. Even. You look at a map and you look where Lubbock, Texas is. It's like 6 or 7 hours from Houston.
Anything.
Right? So it's so far. But they eat, breathe, and sleep football, and so it's so much fun. All right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, college football towns are awesome. Well, it's Gainesville, Columbus, it doesn't matter.
Athens.
Yeah, wherever.
I've never been to Athens
they're
either.
Great, man.
Athens is fantastic.
Yeah, I
Knoxville's
liked,
cool. It's right along the river.
Yeah, I like Knoxville.
I
I've
liked
been there.
Auburn too. You know, we had a nephew that swam at Auburn. I went to a game there. Loved going to Auburn. That was pretty and cool. A little Jacksonville area.
Ole Miss, the Grove.
Yeah, those towns are cool, man. It's got a lot of spirit, and it's all about that football team, which is cool.
Yeah, I like college towns more than, like, for instance, obviously Vanderbilt's in Nashville. Nashville is not a college town. Like USC is in Los Angeles, not exactly a college town. But like I've heard Eugene, Oregon is absolutely incredible. That atmosphere for Oregon football, obviously.
I bet. Heck yeah.
Yeah. All right, on the other side, Taylor Dahl has a tangent. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
When it comes to your favorite football team, John Osher is oh so sure to find the inside insight to keep you up to date. Wednesdays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Served up by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's time to elevate your back-to-school style with luxury and a brand-new Cadillac.
Discover the 2025 Luxury XT6, a spacious 7-seat SUV starting at just $49,195. Perfect for carpooling or weekend adventures.
That's right, or step up your game with the stunning 2026 Vistique, Escalade, and Escalade IQ.
I want to go back to school in style.
You can. Visit us at Rainy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville. This school year, it's all about style.
Plus tax tag title $9.99 admin fee and resist all and approved credit.
Did you know that basketball and volleyball were invented at the YMCA? That's right, and even today, the Y continues to lead the way in youth sports programming, from toddlers just starting out to teens ready to compete. The Y offers skill development, recreational play, and competitive leagues, all in a fun, supportive environment. Get your child in the game to build character and skills at the Y. Registration is now open for youth volleyball and soccer at fcymca.org.
Calling all poker players. The Best Bet Summer Swing Series kicks off August 18th at Best Bet Orange Park with a $200 no-limit hold'em and a $100,000 guarantee. Next stop, Best Bet St. Augustine with a $150,000 guaranteed poker tournament. Then wrap it up Labor Day weekend in Jacksonville with a massive $300,000 guarantee. Play all three events and swing for big winnings. Get all the details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Labor Day weekend is here, and Hidden Hills Golf Club is offering specials this holiday weekend. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com and secure your holiday tee times for just $59 per player. We look forward to seeing you at Hidden Hills.
To catch more fish, you gotta think like a fish. Captain Kevin and the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show, reeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services, and awaken 180 weight loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
What is the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth? The answer next.
There's always a good reason to compare homeowners' insurance rates. You may be paying too much. Protect your home with a Southern Oak insurance policy today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The coldest temperature ever recorded was in Antarctica in July of 1983. An unbelievably cold minus 128.6 degrees.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedics specialists.
1010XL, presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farrah doesn't flinch.
I did love how college football used to be. Not to be one of those guys. It was all exactly. No. Whatever it is, what it is. I mean, I'm happy for the guys that are getting money. I think that's great. Especially for you look at some people that their NFL careers don't pan out the way some people think. Like, you just never know. And there's guys that have opportunities to make a lot of money in college and then don't end up making that money in the NFL. So it's great for those situations. I do think there is something special about college and, you know, not being professional and all those things. It's like a great experience, but who knows? I'm sure these kids are having fun.
Trevor Lawrence on how college football obviously has changed since we've talked so much college football today. I wanted Trevor
to be one of those guys.
Yeah, he's so funny.
He misses a clean pocket and guys wide open.
Yeah.
And he also might have
like,
had
where's T?
Yeah, exactly. He might have had a different answer. T. Higgins and Justin Ross would be helpful. He might have had a different answer if he hadn't gotten his second contract and if he wasn't the number one overall pick, right? Like, he talks about the guys that don't necessarily make it in the NFL. And here's a guy who would have made a ton. We always talk about Tim Tebow, like what he missed out on. But Trevor also would have made a ton of money via NIL. But we had some people weigh in on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Yes, we did. We had several saying that South Carolina was the best environment they had ever been to.
Okay.
I've
heard really good things about Williams-Brice, and I was telling y'all off air, my great aunt and uncle, Aunt Kitty and Uncle Joe, they lived in Orangeburg, South Carolina, and they had a caboose at the stadium. And they were massive South Carolina fans. And I've always heard it's a great environment. I need to go.
Yeah, those ones, I remember when they came here for the bowl game against Notre Dame, they yelled "Go Cox" so much during their, I was like, this is kind of aggressive right now. Somebody else said, don't forget Iowa. Obviously, they have the Children's Cancer Center there, and they turn and wave. That's always an amazing, very emotional in that. Somebody else, multiple people said I have to go see the Swamp. So they're like, maybe try and go to Florida, Texas this year. That could be a fun one to go to.
That'd be an incredible
expensive ticket. I'll tell you that for the here.
Have you looked?
Yeah.
I have.
Okay. And then we had Nebraska. The Huskers, I guess 403 consecutive sellouts for the Huskers. That's fantastic. Also considering they haven't been very good. So even more so credit to those fans. But
clearly in the 80s and 90s, Nebraska
they were
was
huge.
So
Oklahoma, Nebraska, big time.
I replied saying, holy crap. And they said, Nebraska also is the most boring state in the United States.
My grandmother lived most of her life in Nebraska or at least the back half of our life in Nebraska. So I did go there, and I can confirm it is nothing but cornfields.
College World Series.
When the College World Series is there, from watching it on TV, I've never been to that. It seems great. Which, speaking of that, Taylor, we met the owner of Rocco's.
We did.
In Vegas.
Yes, that was really cool. So he had that Rocco's hat on, and I was like, oh, that's cool. You've been to Rocco's? He's like, I own Rocco's. So that was cool. I actually got his number. He's going to come on with us next year during the College World Series and talk about how he told me the whole story, but it's really interesting how the Jello shot thing started. And some of the guys, obviously Skeens came in. He told me how many shots. I want to say it's like 60,000 something shots Paul Skeens bought this last year for LSU. And so that'll be fun to have those conversations. Somebody also said that there have been major injuries from running down the Clemson Hill. As recent as last year with a wide receiver, a running back had to have surgery a couple years ago. Plenty rolled down from tripping.
Yeah. Thinking like going down, you like the pressure on your knee, especially, I don't know. I wouldn't like
maybe they put some escalators.
I have not been to, like I said, South Carolina, but I've been to Clemson, and I saw a South Carolina Clemson game. And that's obviously always rivalry weekend, so right around Thanksgiving. And it was the game where Jadeveon Clowney had multiple sacks. I want to say like 4 or 4.5, something along those lines. And it was just obvious that he was taking over the game. Yeah. And it's crazy that he has not taken off more in the NFL. To this point, I would say, obviously his prime years are behind him. But I always thought in watching that game, like, watch out world, basically. Like, this guy's going to be a
was that when he knocked the player's helmet off and everyone went crazy? Because do you remember that? It was a big hit.
Yeah.
That solidified his status as the number one player. I remember that. I was like, he shot a gap and hit a guy. Big deal. Give me a break.
He's doing his job. That's
happens all the time.
I love that.
Helmets always fly off.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, he was a phenomenal player, though.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. He's still playing, or is he done?
I want to say
I thought he played last year.
He did last year. He played for the Panthers.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
And I'm not sure. I was going to look up his college stats, but let's see now where he actually plays. And that is, I think he's a free agent currently. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he gets picked up. He came off the bench for them, had like 5 or 6
5.5 sacks last season. Yeah. I don't know that that's necessarily going to be here because, of course, the Jaguars have added a lot of veterans at that position.
Yeah, and the young kids, the young guys that made the team, right? So they're part of that defensive end rotation. I don't think they'll be in the market for that. Although they just brought in, who'd they bring in? They brought in a D lineman who's a veteran. He's played a lot of different football teams. Big defensive lineman.
Matt Dickerson is the defensive lineman. And then the wide receiver, we were confused yesterday. Tom Pelissero had tweeted out that Eric Azunkama, that he was going to be on the Jags practice squad, but then when the Jags released their practice squad, he wasn't on it. So I don't know if they were still negotiating some things.
Maybe physical or something that was having to finish.
Eventually now they do have the 16 and rounded out the practice squad.
So the idea is we're raising the floor. I keep hearing that. Hey, they're raising the floor, which is great. So
Which is great.
No, it is.
If they did it.
So they keep bringing in defensive linemen, right? It seems. So who are they trying to upgrade upgrade the floor? You know what I mean? Like, I keep thinking about that. Like, are you not set? Do you not feel good about your D line right now? I know you do on the edge. You'd have to.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if in part it's injury concern. You've had Mason Smith now who has had injuries. You've had Eric Armstead, who previous to being in Jacksonville had a lot of injuries. And then this year injury. Or was he injured? Or we don't know actually. So whatever was happening with that, but still a lot of injuries in previous years with Eric Armstead. Devon Hamilton obviously had his whole issue that he dealt with. So I wonder if it's just kind of like we need guys there because these guys haven't been able to play a full season of football.
And maybe so. But think about it. They brought in
Colin Saunders,
and then they brought in
Austin Johnson.
Austin Johnson, thank you. And now this guy who's been around the league. Just interesting to think like, okay, so maybe he does increase the floor. I wonder who he's gonna be in front of,
compete with,
or not at all. Just stay on the practice squad like you said and wait in case anything happens injury wise.
Yeah, I think anytime they go to the practice squad, I don't automatically think, okay, that person's competition for some other guys. But it's certainly, like we've talked about, the Branson Combs of the world. I mean, that he might be a bit of competition there at that linebacker spot for sure. All right, right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
So Sumer Sports, if you don't know, is a kind of analytical program that works with NFL teams specifically, and they are kind of their source of analytics for not every team, but several teams in the NFL of how they get those numbers for opposing teams as they're game planning and things like that. But they've gone through previews for both the AFC and the NFC. I just wanted to share a few of the notes, so a few little fun facts. Some of these are I did a few random teams in the AFC that I just thought were interesting, but then I went through the AFC South specifically to see some of their numbers. And so starting with the Bills, this was interesting, and I also think it, to me, could be relative to what happens here when we talk about the expectations of what this offense can look like and how you help Trevor Lawrence. So the Bills went from league average at negative 0.05 EPA per rush in 2022 and 2023 to the most efficient rushing offense in the league last year. That's not even including Josh Allen's rushes or scrambles. Bills used a sixth offensive lineman on a league-leading 26.8% of their run plays last year.
Yeah.
And this is why James Cook said, pay me more money.
Yeah.
That's
Because I
exactly
took you from average, probably like the 16th, 17th rushing offense to the best in the NFL. And that sixth offensive line obviously
how they lined up the majority of the time. It was like an overload where they have two on one side and they put all the rest on the other side. It's like seven of them, including the tight end. And
I'm not sure. That would be interesting to go back and look how they actually scheme that up. But that's a lot. Almost 30% of the time you have an extra offensive lineman. Do it if we need to do it, I feel like. Last year, Lamar Jackson had the best EPA per drop back under pressure of any quarterback. He had the best EPA drop back on throws over 2.5 seconds and the highest EPA per play on plays that excluded play action, RPOs, and screen plays. He was also top 3 in EPA per pass under center in the red zone and intermediate passes. So pretty much Lamar Jackson was in top 3 in almost every single statistical category for quarterbacks last year.
Now, EPA is this new metric, right? Estimated points.
It's like above average is what it is. So it's kind of, they take what you are expected to do, and if you're in the positive, then you are exceeding expectations is pretty much what it is. So it's
expected points added.
Yeah. And so
expected points added.
Yeah. I think of it a little bit like war in baseball is the way I would describe it.
It's like calculating every single thing. They evaluate everything that goes into those certain plays, and they cut all. Obviously, this is EPA per every single thing he's doing, but then he has a full. You can just say his EPA as a quarterback. But yeah, so it's pretty much to me when you talk about the criticism that Lamar Jackson had at one point about not being able to throw the ball, he's thrown all of that out the window pretty much.
He's gotten better every year. For sure.
I always tell people about when we saw him at the Gator Bowl, because I forget who Louisville played, but we saw him at the Gator Bowl. He threw 5 interceptions, and I was like, he'll never be good in the NFL. He can't throw the football accurately well.
He said, okay, Lauren.
He said, let me show you after the Jags are going to take Taven Bryan ahead of me in that draft.
Oh, yeah. Ouch.
He's as a passer, he's gotten really good.
And to your point, Tommy, it's every single year you just feel like he's getting better. That's what you would want to see out of a quarterback you draft. But Bengals last year, 14th in EPA per play defensively when blitzing, 29th when not blitzing. Why wouldn't you blitz more if you were 14, like a half a league better?
I guess when you don't trust your secondary.
I guess.
You have the leading sacker in the league.
That's true.
Wild that
you trust Trey Hendrickson to get his.
Right.
It is. It's interesting. And I guess it also becomes more obvious if every team knows you're going to blitz, then that becomes a little bit more predictable. But with that being said, Al Golden at Notre Dame last year blitzed 39% of the time, which was towards NCAA college football, one of the highest, I think top 6 it was. So I think you would expect a lot more blitzing out of Al Golden and the Bengals defense this year. And so just in that area alone, you would feel a little better about what you're getting out of that defense. Maybe. I don't know. We didn't see a whole lot in the preseason.
By the way, JJ mentioned something that I hadn't even thought about. So obviously he's a Miami fan going down to the game against Notre Dame. And he was like, imagine if Al Golden was still with Notre Dame returning to Miami, because of course he was the head coach.
Which they don't like him.
Right. Once upon a time. Right. But that would have been wild. But now, he left Notre Dame to go
Cincinnati.
to
I'd blitz a lot.
Yeah,
I would. I'd bring a lot of heat because that quarterback only has so much time, especially in college, especially a new QB. Going into the first game, you're going against a new quarterback. I'm coming after you.
Make him start just spinning around where he's confused.
Absolutely, man. Don't give him any time.
Oh, yeah. So going to the AFC South, a few notes they had for each of these teams. The Texans defense last year were dominant against deep passes, holding opponents to a league worst negative 13.9% completion percentage over expected on throws of 20-plus yards downfield. Wow. So that is, and I honestly think their secondary probably got even better. But that's just one note. That's one of the things that Texans are good at. We know their biggest issue that we will see this year is the offensive line, if they were able to improve that, because that was obviously just the biggest sore spot for them last year. The Colts, which this one was interesting to me, Josh Downs was 10th in yards per route ran against man last year. Alec Pierce had the 9th most yards off vertical routes. And so now they added Tyler Warren to that. You know what Michael Pittman can do. So quarterback, if Daniel Jones can be okay, it looks like their offense actually could be decent. You just don't want to turn the ball over, and you want to be able to use those guys in the specific things that they're good at. And I don't know if the Colts have been great at that part of it.
Didn't Pierce scorch us last year? Was that last year? 4 catches for 2 touchdowns?
Alec Pierce typically torches
big bombs, right? Big.
Yeah.
Alex Pierce kicking our ass, but whatever. That's been the story.
And Alec with a C. That's how I remember. That's what drives me nuts. I'm like, you're letting a guy named Alec burn you over and over.
Sorry to the Alex listening.
It's one thing when it's Devontae Adams. That I expect. But Alec Pierce? Come on, man.
The Titans one made me laugh because they literally had no statistics for the Titans of anything good from last year. All it said was for the Titans, they pretty much discussed the offensive line and how much that could help Cam Ward, because they did add Dan Moore at left tackle and they added Kevin Zeitler at right guard, allowing J.C. Latham now is back to his natural spot at right tackle. Obviously, Peter Skoronski, he started getting better, especially through pass pro throughout the year, and then Cushenberry healthy adds a lot. So honestly, they could end up, if all of these guys pan out at times that we've seen it, and J.C. Latham at his other position could have one of the better offensive lines in the NFL, honestly.
Their running back, Spears, he went on IR for 4 games. Did I see that? Najee Spears, Yeah, listen, if you got it up front,
they
that's
still have
half
Derrick
the battle.
Henry. Don't worry. Oh, wait.
No, they do not.
Those idiots.
Yes. And then the last one for the Jaguars, they said, which we've talked about this a lot, but Liam Cohen with the Bucs had the most productive screen game and the best third down conversion rate in the league. Jags were 12th last year, actually, in EPA per screen. So it wasn't terrible last year, but I do think Liam Cohen, that's something that we're going to see improve even more. But I think that third down conversion rate is the thing that you want, that I feel like will help this offense the most.
That we have circled for sure.
Yeah, you got to be good on third down, both sides of the ball. You could go through. So I go through different statistics through, the game. That third down, even now fourth down, because everyone goes for it. Yeah, it's almost as important as
the
third down.
The Jags won't because they're their kicker, and so they're going to go ahead and have Cam Little just kick those.
Kick 80
like 67. We've got it.
Cam, it's 82. You got it. Yeah, no problem. I got it.
Yeah, I do feel like a lot of NFL fans or football fans in general, if they're not familiar with the screen game, because it hasn't always gone according to plan here.
Well, it's fresh. When it doesn't work, you look stupid.
Right. We always say in our house, like, why does every other team make the screen game look so easy and this team bumbles?
The bubble, you can only go to the bubble screen so many times. The running back screen can be very tough to defend, especially if you're in zone. Because you're dropping back, and then by the time they get out there is when you recognize. Now, if you're in man and someone has that back, then it's easy to sniff out. Because the back basically stops, maybe hops, and then bows out a little. Like, it's such a dead giveaway. Yeah. You're like, you're not fooling anybody, buddy. I'm like, right on you. And then
so
you
it just gets blown up immediately.
You hug up to him, and it's easy to defend. But in zone, because you're going to drop back to your zone next thing, beep. Here come those big fat guys, and they're pretty fast. I got to get around them somehow. Anyway,
I don't know if that was a beep or a bleep.
Beep,
both. Either way, today's Terminix Pest of the Day is on the other side. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
From the preseason to the playoffs and every day in between.
Each man individually preparing himself to be the best he could possibly be. Better than he's ever been. Because that's what it's going to take.
At 1010XL, the season never ends.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
This is Hayes Carlion, here from a driver who made the smart move to buying a vehicle from Atlantic Infinity.
Hayes, this is my second Infinity, so I knew exactly what I wanted, and Atlantic Infinity made it so easy for me. The GM Dwayne had my new ride ready to go, and I was in and out of the dealership in about 30 minutes. The Atlantic Infinity promise just sealed the deal for me. It's $2,500 in added value, including roadside assistance. I am so happy with my new car.
Atlantic Infinity, Atlantic, near St. John's Bluff.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Jacksonville, Hickens calling it. Checkmate Coating, my MVP. Tough, slick floors that dominate any space.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Hey Jacksonville, Lauren Brooks here from Helmets and Heels. Summer heat has settled in, but don't sweat it. Big Chief Tire has your back with $50 off all AC services. Whether your system needs a quick recharge or a full repair, their expert team will keep you cool and road ready all season long. With 6 locations around Jacksonville, trusted service is always nearby. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your AC service. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
I-9 Sports is geared up for fun for kids all over the First Coast with fall and winter registration open right now. Kids ages 3 to 17 get in the gym or on the field with I-9 Sports, covering Clay, Duval, and St. John's. And I-9 has all-girls flag football at Oakley, UNF, Fletcher, and Creekside. Plenty of other spots and sports on the First Coast to take advantage of. Don't miss out. Registration open now for fall and winter at i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
Bueller
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, got a minute?
Always. What's on your mind?
This time of year, my air conditioner is running non-stop. Hot all day, hot all night. It has to run constantly just to keep up.
Well, that's what they do.
But if something happens to it in the middle of a 2-week heat wave, I'm in trouble, Jason. I can't wait 3 days or 2 days or even the next day for service. If you can't get someone here today, I'm sweating by tonight. What if it breaks, Jason?
You call me, pal. That's what we do. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
But you're probably swamped with calls from everyone else's AC that ran nonstop and then broke in a heat wave, so they called you because that's what you do.
But we always have room for an emergency. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we have techs standing by because we know these things happen.
So I don't need to worry. Wow. That time you calmed me down without even using the sunglasses.
Oh, I was reaching for them.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL, presented by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farrah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Thursday. No Jaguars programming today, but it will return next week. And the debut of Liam Cohen on the Liam Cohen Show next week. Yeah, Tony Vasilli and James Gladstone were kind enough to join Jeff Lageman and JP Shadrick the past few weeks, and so Liam Cohen will make his debut next week. He did meet with reporters after practice, and tomorrow we'll go through some of the things that he said about his current team. Time now for today's Terminix Pest of the Day is always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. If you need anything, you can find them online, TERMINIX.com, Terminix.com, anything pest related. They come to our house, they spray the front yard, the backyard, they put equipment so we don't have mosquitoes. They make sure we have no wasps or ants, whether it's the small ants, the carpenter ants. They take care of everything, just like they do VyStar Ballpark, VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and Everbank Stadium. All right, y'all. Josh Hines Allen posted this today on X. I've been drug tested so much this offseason and now preseason, and the season hasn't even started yet. At this point, I could buy the league a new randomizer myself. NFL, you're the pest of the day. Stop drug testing Josh Hines Allen. He's given you no reason to drug test him at any point in time in his career. And his son was recently sick. Like, thankfully, Wesley's going to be just fine and just celebrated his 6-month treatment ending. But at the same time, like, get off of our guy, number 41. Stop drug testing him.
Just peeing a cup. It's not a big deal. You know, they say, hey, you're getting tested. You're like, all right, I got to take a leak anyway.
But this doesn't feel random if it's happening so much to one person. That's what I would
who
say.
knows how they pick.
Yeah,
it,
I don't know.
I mean, he doesn't, I don't know. I mean, look, you never know. You see guys all the time getting busted for performance. I'm not saying Josh is doing that.
It doesn't feel like that happens as often as it. I feel like we went through a stretch in the NFL where there were a lot of players in like a 10-year stretch.
Well, listen, it depends what you're taking, right? I mean, you could take creatine and feel like you're on steroids. I mean, creatine's very powerful.
Taylor, is that how you felt when you've taken creatine?
It is, and a lot of people, lifters out there that take it, know what I'm talking about. And they give you a ratio of testosterone, so you could take a little testosterone if you keep it underneath that ratio.
Gotcha.
And get away with it, which not get away with it. I mean, look, it helps you recover, it keeps you strong, whatever the case may be. I've never had a problem with it. You know, I think they should let them all do whatever they want, and then just go play. And you know, obviously to a certain limit, but. I tell you, I don't know why they're after him. You know, he lost weight. He didn't put. If anything, they should have been testing him last year.
Yeah.
Like, how did you gain all that weight? You know,
or after 17 and a half sacks, not after you plummeted in your sack production.
Yeah. But they do. They I don't know how they do it random, but it's supposed to be random.
I know. Yeah, like, and I'm aware it's supposed to be
like
random.
Like the number just pops up, and you're the number, and they're like, all right, you got to go.
It's like a computer system, and they're probably like, why does it keep landing on Josh Hines Allen?
Yeah, whatever. I listen. One time I was asked because they would call your house in the off season.
Okay.
And there was this little gray-haired dude named Bill. He was great. He was an old like DEA guy, and the Jags had him. So I was living in New Smyrna Beach, and he called my parents' house. We didn't have cell phones. Called my parents' house, and he's like, "Hey, I'm in town, and you got to take a drug test." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, I didn't want him to come to my house. I thought that was weird." I was like, "I'll meet you at there's a Denny's up on 44 in New Smyrna Beach, and I'll meet you at the Denny's." Well, I forgot it was bike week. So me and this little old dude go into the bathroom. We're going past all these bikers. They're in like They're in the seat, just wondering, like, with the boost, like, what are these two doing? He's got his briefcase, he's got his leather jacket. He's only like 5'6", I'm walking by.
You're just walking with your pea cup,
Got to take a leak inside this. Don't worry, fellas, it's gonna be okay. But yeah, like they'd come to your house and be like, "Hey, you got to do it." So
that's wild.
Yeah.
It is.
Now, back in the day, they used to. If it was during the season, they'd tell you when. They're not supposed to tell you, but. Maybe I shouldn't
heads
say
up.
it. Never mind.
Heads up. You may or may not be getting a drug test next week.
Maybe somebody's coming in tomorrow to pay you. Oh, yeah, thanks. All right. Appreciate it. I'll pick up that prescription later.
The other almost pest of the day was Freddie Freeman. Did y'all see what Freddie was doing last night?
No.
I did not.
So he did not play.
And I love Freddie.
He did not play in last night's game, but he was in the dugout and he yanked out one of his nose hairs.
Oh, yeah.
And the camera just caught him. And you could tell that it was kind of painful because he
was like, ouch.
And he was.
I wonder if it was like tickling his nose. He's like, I got to get rid of this.
Get it out. Listen.
Wouldn't you not do that like along the
I don't think they care.
I don't know. You're playing baseball. I got an itch in my nose.
I would just turn around, do that so the camera couldn't see me, and then I'd go back to watching the game.
I do it at home. Christine, would you knock it off? I'm like, I got to get rid of them. They're bothering me. The best part is when you flick them.
Oh, man alive.
Ew.
That is.
There's nothing on them. It's hair. It's crazy.
There's still boogies in there.
There's no boogies. Get rid of the boogies before you pull the hair, Taylor.
Absolutely disgusting. All right, let's get to a James Gladstone clip. I got to get out of this conversation.
You're jacked.
You brought it up.
I did. I said almost pest of the day. I should have just left it unsaid. But all right, James Gladstone, RJ Cut 5. I want to talk about Caleb Bransaw because we were confused a little bit yesterday. And I think most people who cover the team were confused hearing week to week, just like a guy like Wyatt Milam, who's now back at practice or at least getting close. And why was Caleb going on season-ending IR? Well, here is Jaguars GM James Gladstone on the Caleb Bransaw injury.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He had a non-contact injury on his foot that ultimately we put him in a boot with the hope that it wouldn't result in surgery. Checked after the boot came off, and it was clear that it was going to have to. We were going to have to go in. And so he ended up having the surgery, still had optimism that there was a chance towards the back half of the year that he would be able to return and do a designation for return. Unfortunately, it ended up being that it was going to be too close to the buzzer, so to speak, and it would have been some version of trying to rush him back. Looking at the long game, it makes the most sense to make sure his recovery timeline isn't rushed and we can go about it the right way for him. And yeah, it's disappointing because he is somebody that we certainly had a very vivid vision for, and he was progressing at an extremely high rate. But nonetheless, we got a good group that is ready to bring it to life on the grass and play together, play in tandem, and looking forward to seeing that here against the Carolina Panthers.
So he confirmed what we thought as far as it progressing at an extremely high rate. And they had a vivid vision for him. I think he was going to end up starting.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
do.
Yeah, maybe.
At safety.
Maybe.
I think he would have definitely been in the conversation even right now. Like, I think we would right now be saying, I'm not sure who's starting Savage or
if he kept
for Caleb Bransaw.
Like Dewey.
Or Dewey, yeah. And I do, it sucks. And we talked about this yesterday. It sucks for Caleb Bransaw. It especially losing a draft pick. You don't want to have to, and that you already didn't have a second, and now your third round draft pick, and Caleb Bransaw isn't going to play for a whole year. He was learning that new position, so you probably wanted him as much as out there as much as possible this year. So next year, that is his spot, ideally, is probably where their mindset was. So it really does stink for him. It is still interesting because I do feel like, and I asked you because I had multiple people asked me on Twitter, did you guys see him out at camp? I did not. And I was like, you saw him practicing and then all of a sudden he wasn't. And it was never like we saw him walking around or doing anything. So it's weird that
Because
that was never
non-contact.
And it was weird that it was never more of a conversation. Like we didn't talk about it more in press conferences and ask like what's going on with Caleb Bransaw more than we did.
Well, listen, I've told you before, I had a lot of foot injuries. Had probably 3 surgeries on my right foot and broken on my left. 5th metatarsal, non-contact. I mean, normally you don't, unless someone steps on your foot, that's you hurt your foot in non-contact. So maybe, I don't know, maybe.
Do you think Liz Frank?
What's that?
Would you diagnose?
No, Liz Frank would be because you get your heel smashed down. That would be a contact. I would imagine. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it wouldn't be that, but it could be, fifth metatarsal. I know I was like, oh, Tom thinks she's a doctor. No, I've just had the surgeries before. There's a ligament on the outside. My peroneus longus ruptured. That was non-contact. I doubt it's that, or I'm sure you could come back from that maybe today. But good, listen, I hope he heals up. That sucks. I tell you, you think about like my ACL and my foot, both non-contact. All the pileups, all the times my body was in a distorted, all the times I thought I broke my jaw, or broke my, broke something, and never anything happened. And then you cut and bing, and you're like, what? How does that even happen? Nobody even touched me. It's just it's a crazy thing. So it's such a shame. They were counting on him. I agree. If he kept ascending, he would have been in the running. Yeah. I still think Dewey gives him that insurance policy, with the communication and all that kind of thing. But that doesn't mean Caleb couldn't have taken over at some point. But hopefully he can rest up and come back better than ever, man. Now his job is to get healthy and rehab like a son of a gun and make sure that he's ready to go when they take the field next year. That's all he can do.
That is all he can do. But thankfully, I think this team around him, and by that I mean this regime, I think they're really supportive, even more so than the average, because Tony Baselli has been through, season-ending injuries and even a career-ending injury. So I think the focus and the communication, I feel like, is extra. That's just me from the outside. And maybe I have to say something nice about Tony, since earlier I joked.
You yelled at him.
You called him dumb. Dumbing down.
It's just Tony, I guess.
Time with Tony. All right, one segment to go. By the way, also, real quick, congratulations to Travis Hunter and his wife, Leanna, for having the baby. Awesome. None of us were aware that she was pregnant, but super excited for them with the little boy.
Nothing better. Gift from heaven.
One segment to go on Helmets and Heels on Tentinix on 92.5 FM.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Big number one Duval Ford is trusted by Duval families, Duval businesses, and law enforcement across Florida. We're Jacksonville's largest Ford dealer by new Ford sales with the biggest service facility to keep everything in your driveway and in your fleet on the road. Shop Big number one Duval Ford on Cassett Avenue for our low prices and nationally recognized service-first experience. Big number one Duval Ford, proudly serving North Florida since 1916.
There's a new game changer in downtown Jacksonville, and it's not the two-way star you might be thinking of. It's Pour Tap Room Jacksonville at Laura and Forsyth. 2 floors, 80 self-pour taps of craft beer, wine and cocktails, and a full liquor bar. Pour Tap Room has all your game day favorites, wings, burgers, and more. You can even grab a slice or a pie next door at Pizza Dynamo, and they'll bring it right to your table. Pour Tap Room Jacksonville, a beer festival every day.
He's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, let's talk about diamond cutting. How is the diamond price affected by the way it is cut?
Frank, that's probably the most important question asked about diamonds, because the trade-off between a diamond cut for maximum beauty and one that's not is the diamond's carat weight. You see, diamond cutters buy rough diamonds based on quality and weight. So as they cut the rough diamond, everything cut away affects profits. However, There are specific known cutting parameters, and each deviation from these means they have a heavier, less beautiful diamond. Unfortunately, a customer can't detect all those cutting imperfections. They need expert help about a diamond's cut grade. You see, for any round diamond of a particular color, clarity, and carat weight, there are as many as 10 different prices that can vary by as much as 50%. At Underwoods, we look specifically at how a diamond's cut before we look at anything else, because it's the most important factor when it comes to a diamond's beauty, and to us, whether it should carry the Underwood name or not.
When the unexpected happens, you shouldn't have to face it alone. I'm Chris Campione, and at Campione Law, we're here to fight for you. Whether it's an auto accident or a slip and fall, our Jacksonville team takes care of every detail, from investigating the incident to securing multi-million-dollar verdicts, so you can focus on getting better. And remember, you don't pay a dime unless we win your case. Our commitment is 24/7, bringing you the real support from real people who really care. Campione Law, your dedicated partners in justice. Visit CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione Law. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
I just saw, well, this was about an hour ago, Adam Schefter reported several teams have spoken to the Dallas Cowboys about a potential Micah Parsons trade. And for the first time, the Cowboys appear willing to at least listen.
That's such a power play by Jerry Jones. They're not trading Micah Parsons.
And his back is hurting now, too, by the way.
Of course it is. Yeah. My back hurts, too, when I'm going into contract negotiations.
Worked for Jalen.
It did work for Jalen.
Sure did, yeah. I mean,
I
imagine Micah wants to be traded, but I just can't imagine that Jerry Jones, knowing the value that he brings, if the Browns were able to keep Myles Garrett, who explicitly stated he wanted to be traded, and obviously is not on nearly as good of a team, then speaking of the Jaguars, Cole Van Lanen did return to practice today, so that is good news. Buster Brown was seen working off to the side. Also good news, but still no Wyatt Milam as he continues to return. I heard D-Rock on Jaguars Today earlier, Mike DiRocco, say that he thinks Wyatt Milam will be back around week 3 or 4.
Okay.
And maybe Van Lanen might miss the first week, but be back by week 2. So
good.
If those are correct, and again, obviously those are
Did
his
they put Milam
guesses.
on the end? He was not on injured reserve. What was the one player
Just
again?
Jalen McLeod.
McLeod, yeah. I was trying to remember who it was.
IR designated to return.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right, one more cut here. You joked about it a lot in your takeaways there, Tom, talking about when James Gladstone was talking about Trevor Lawrence. Let's hear what he has to say about QB1.
Absolutely jacked at the progression that we saw from the offseason program to now where we're at through 3 preseason games and on the horizon of the regular season, because obviously going through so many different schemes throughout the early portion of his career, finding stability, finding confidence in understanding the intent of one play to the next, the operation, takes some time. And so Trevor was doing a phenomenal job operationally throughout the course of the offseason program and really being consistent in doing what was explicitly asked. Throughout the course of training camp, he began to test everything and began to push the limits, not just to do what was asked, but go beyond that. And that was the exciting thing that you began to see sort of take shape and taking riskier throws and actually threading the needle in a way that was jaw-dropping, right? And so that was the exciting progression from, let's call it the off-season program, to now where we are at the end of training camp.
Jaw-dropping threading of the needle.
How many throws did you see that were jaw-dropping in camp? Do you remember?
Few? I'll say a few.
You do?
I saw a few.
Yeah, maybe a couple.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple. There was one part of that reminded me so much. Do you remember the video? It was probably like 10 years ago now, of the lady that went viral, the Jaguars fan, and she was like the steal the show lady.
Yes.
Because in that, she's like, we took it to the limit.
Yeah.
And that's what I just thought of when he just said that. And I couldn't take it seriously.
Yeah, she was down in Miami, right?
I think
But
so.
she was like a big
Yeah.
Jags fan. Yeah.
Listen, Trevor looks better. There's no doubt about it. His delivery, his footwork, his placement of the football, his quick thinking, getting the ball to where it needs to be. I still think his best throw the entire camp is that one to Cephas down the sideline. Remember, they did an audible. It was one of the most prettier throws he's ever made, I think. It was right on that outside shoulder. But he's got to show it, I mean, and again, they all got to show it. But you can't have 7-14, 2 picks like was the last time he had, regardless of what good throws he has. So, big year for Trevor. he definitely looks a lot better. I'm excited to watch him play, and I hope it just, it goes from camp, preseason, right into the regular season without missing a beat, and that he's efficient and his completion percentage is high, and he's making the right decisions with the football. So hopefully that happens.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
That's
but
the job.
That's absolutely
That's
the
the job.
Well, here is someone who is efficient.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnet. Nimnet Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnet Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Hayes, for the first time since Tom joined the show, we talked more college football than we did Jags
how
or
about
NFL.
that was fun. What a weekend.
What a weekend is right. Have you been to Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay, and so we were talking about some of the best intros, and I told them about, Welcome to the Swamp where only Gators got alive, and there's so many great ones. But South Carolina's, we had so many
Multiple people say it was their favorite.
Their best.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just, it's not bad, but it's not like.
We had a ton. I was
Really?
like, yeah.
That's interesting. Huh?
What's your Twitter again, Hayes? At Hayes?
Yeah, at Hayes Carline. Reach out.
Yeah, reach out. Say hello.
What outside of the Swamp, what's your favorite stadium? Baton Rouge? LSU?
Probably, I've actually never been to Baton Rouge.
Oh, that's
probably
right.
for me, I would say Neyland was pretty awesome,
Yep.
the Vol Navy,
Yep.
and then obviously Rocky Top and everything that goes along with that. So, I haven't been to a ton of them, but I have been to South Carolina's, and I wasn't overly impressed.
Okay.
But Neyland Stadium is fantastic. So I'd probably say Tennessee
Okay.
of the ones I've seen, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen nearly what like Frank and
Right.
guys that like Matt Hayes have seen.
Yeah, I've never been to Baton Rouge either. I would love to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Penn State was awesome. I think that's probably the biggest one I played.
Yeah.
They were 92 at the time. And I remember when I was a sophomore, I looked behind, we were doing a walk. I was like, oh, keep going up. No.
Yeah, they have
DC was like
over
35,000
100.
at the time. So like, man, 3 of our stadiums could fit in this thing.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Michigan, Penn State, Tennessee are the top, and Ohio State, I think, are top 3 or 4 as far as capacity.
100,
yeah,
yeah.
over 100,000.
And Long Island.
How could I forget
Yeah.
Long Island?
Big game, big game.
Massive.
Better buckle that chin strap. If you're DJ Lagway. We'll have a fun Frangie show coming up. Sorry, I'm derailing us here. I got a chance to catch up with Brian Thomas Jr. after practice. So, we'll play that and talk all sorts of college football as well coming up on the Frangie show.
Love it. Thanks, Hayes. We will certainly be listening. And yeah, fun show today. I love college. I love college
I
football.
love college ball. Any football is good football, man.
Absolutely.
Loved playing it and loved watching it. And it's going to be a great weekend of college football.
And like Taylor said, it begins tonight.
Yes. If you want to watch some football tonight, you got
Boise State, South Florida. I will 100% be scouting out South Florida because that's who Florida
Scouting
plays.
out. All right.
That's who Florida plays week 2.
Next.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so you'll
That's right.
So
have to see your
I'm
next
invested.
Expect a full report on South Florida.
Tomorrow, you will get it.
Please.
Boise State, South Florida. That report is incoming. All right, that'll do it for us today. For Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, for Tom McManus, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show